I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for commenting on my posts and engaging conversation in DMs and all the likes also. Thanks. I like to ask people if they have any topics that they would want me to cover or discuss, and I do have one response that I want to get to right now, and it says, I've always had a problem with always trying to be liked and accepted, always found myself not being liked and being depressed. Well, I feel like I covered some of this topic in my insecurity episode, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat myself a little bit, but before all that, I want to say that I could be dead wrong, and there's no way that I think that 100% of what I'm saying is right. And as I'm going to lay out some suggestions, I don't think that this person is wrong in any way either, but hey, we got to try to find an answer regardless, so I will continue. I feel like there's two questions to ask, which is, who's at fault for this issue? Is it you or the other people? Let's run down the line if, hypothetically, that it's the other people that are at fault, which is to say that they're extremely boring, or maybe really rude, or maybe they engage in activities that you don't really care about, and other stuff like that. So, if that's the case, you have to ask yourself, is it worth not being around those people and just being alone a lot of the times? Or do you want to still continue to try to find a common ground anyways? Well, I'm going to say that if this is a problem, that maybe you are open to trying to find common ground. And I do want to say that, yeah, I think it's highly possible that you can find common ground, because there's a lot of things that you could talk about in movies, music, TV shows, online videos. It doesn't always have to be super deep stuff, you know? I know this from experience because I'm such a freak that when I meet people, I try to jump within 3 sentences to, hey, what are you about? What's your life about? Tell me not so much a secret, but just something deep, because I want to get to know who you really are. But again, I had got this suggestion from someone else that I had raised this discussion with, and that person said, you might have to change your approach entirely. And I don't disagree with that. It's like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but if you are open to new approaches, which is to say maybe engage yourself in current topics, relevant topics, modern things like sports, politics, weather. I think the point is, if you can just get that first step off by discussing something universal, which the other person can relate to, that could get the discussion going, I think that's a good thing, and I think it's a good suggestion. You don't necessarily have to be in love with any of these topics, and it doesn't make you a fake. I personally don't like sports, but I like to hear about what other people have to say, especially if they enjoy the topic. That opens them up a lot. Now I want to go into this dangerous territory where I have little to no facts. Let's just say that you're at fault, and you're the one that, due to this kind of stress, I believe it's a possibility that maybe you're emitting an awkward energy, which I only say this because I'm limited to my own life experiences, and I've done this in the past. I have presented myself in a non-perfect way, and I still remember interactions that I've had where other people have emitted a strange energy, and what it does is it stunts the conversation and makes one want to end the conversation sooner rather than later. But again, I don't want to put those words in your mouth. It's just a possibility. Another thing is, let's just say that there's nothing psychologically wrong with you or something deep. Let's just go back, and I guess I have to refer back to the other suggestion, which is be open to changing your approach. And I say that because in this problem, or any issue really, only you can change the outcome. It all lands on you anyway, because you can't force anyone to like you, and you can't force anyone to open up to you. But I promise there's tactics, strategies, there's ways to make that happen. I know one thing that made it easier for me was after spending all this time on finding who I was and all that, and being okay with who I am and having confidence, I was emitting this nonchalant, chill energy where there was no pressure. So in conversation, hey, whether we disagree on something or not, we can continue onto something else, and you know, that little block doesn't have to go up, and things don't have to get weird. When you stop caring what other people think, that really gets a nice flow going in conversation, because if you guys hit a roadblock or something awkward, you can easily just move forward because you don't really care, and you just move on to something else. I want to take this time to offer a reading or a book in particular, and it's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. When I had gone through that book, that honestly changed my social presentation a lot, and it took the focus off of me and what I wanted to achieve and what I wanted to talk about, and it put the spotlight on the other person. That really helped a lot, actually. People just, it's cool to want to understand someone else and have them open up, because realistically you already know who you are and you already know your story, and it's really nothing new in that. So yeah, I strongly believe that going through life and having friends is a lot better than going on alone. There's so many benefits from having friendships, support, opportunities to hang out, all that good stuff. So if changing your mindset and changing your approach feels uncomfortable, well, I would like to politely remind you that the price is worth it, and it's worth trying to make friends. As far as the part of not being liked is concerned, it's hard for me to relate because I'm such a weirdo that I think it's cool that people think I'm weird or different, because it's somewhat of a confirmation that I'm unique and different. And I don't know if that should mean something to you, but I guess the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it shouldn't be perceived as a bad thing. The part of the comment that says not being liked and being depressed, I just hope that there's not a connection between the two. It would be really sad if there was a connection between the depression and not being liked, because it's all a matter of miscommunication in my eyes. There is a thin line difference between someone not liking you for who you are and them wanting you to be depressed, or them intentionally putting you down in any way. But it's just tricky because a person does have a right to like or not like someone else's personality, and I will admit that even for myself, there are personality types that I do like and don't like. That it's not enough for me to put a person down or go out of my way to let that person know. The reason it shouldn't get to you, hopefully, is because I have to get really simple here. You only get one life, and it's not worth spending time either in depression or being down or sad because people don't like you. But I truly understand that once you're in that act and you're in the situation, that it doesn't feel good. I get that too. I believe that the solution is that you maintain who you are and just find ways to communicate that the other person can maintain who they are, and you guys can still find some middle ground and common ground to get a conversation going. And I believe that it is easily possible. To be very specific, it's just the act of listening and asking questions. Just ask them more about themselves and listen to them speak. And you can still comment back or talk back without any conflict. I'll admit that it's hard for me to find something useful to say right now, so I'll just boil it down to two things. Most importantly, number one is be open to seeing your own errors in communicating with others, whether or not it's true. I think that if you look hard enough, even I make mistakes. The reason I'm mentioning mistakes is because you got to be open to changing a few things here and there. So I want to say that just be open to the idea of putting forth a whole new effort. Just have some patience while you're doing so. And the second thing is, don't ever let this fact or situation get you down in any way, even though I can see how it would. But if you let that happen, it's going to be harder to continue and get past this. So keeping a clear head is very important. And again, I apologize if I have nothing specifically useful to offer, but shoot, that's all I can think of right now.